that barricade of blocks, of rocks over there, not blocks, block rock region. To the left there is going to be one heck of a thing. I guess the horse doesn't want to come this way. Yoshi, you stay outside the castle, I'll go in. What will I do? I will do the only thing that I can do, which is go forward. I wonder if any of these symbols have any meaning. I know that this game does have Hylian signs, and Hylian is its own language. Like a fully realized language that they made up specifically for the universe of Zelda. And all Nintendo decides to use it for is just signs that say really basic things, like village, or bomb sale, or stuff like that. They don't bother to fill the backgrounds with things like, I don't know, hidden secrets of the universe, or messages to decode about the game's creators or anything like that, which I think would be way cooler. What could that be? Does it look familiar to you? Because it didn't look familiar to me whenever I saw it. Yeah, it's that thing that Hylia wore. Just come home safely. Well, yeah, now I think you're gonna have to be promising me that. I don't get this. I don't get why you have to forget a smell to earn a new smell. I will forget what children smell like to learn what Hylia smells like, even though I should already know this by hanging around Hylia for most of my life. I just don't get it. I mean, I guess it makes sense because... Wait. Oh, other way. I guess it makes sense because you can see smells, and you would kind of have to forget one smell and learn another if you didn't want the smells to overlap with one another and, like, conflict, but even still, it makes very little sense to me. I know what brownies smell like, and I also know what poop smells like. They're very different smells, but I can remember both of them. Yeah, the going definitely gets tougher from here on out. The third vessel of light is most certainly the most complex of the three. And I'm sure it's the one that people like the least. It might be the one that I like the least as well, but... nah, it has some cool parts. We'll see it whenever we get there. In the meantime, what is that? Oh, it's a Hylian symbol. From a distance, the design on the bridge looked like a spider to me. Some of these areas with patches of grass have holes that you can dig down into. Kind of like the holes that are hidden throughout Hyrule Field and other places in Ocarina. And they just lead to this little cavern where you fight some enemies and then you get rupees or something. Usually nothing important, sometimes a heart piece. So I will be exploring some of those later on. Took us a while, but we finally entered the general location of Hyrule Castle like we were supposed to do at the very beginning of the game to deliver this package that's now on our... well, it's not on our back now. Come to think of it, that's a little bit weird. Like, earlier on, whenever we collected the shield from the village, Ordon Village, we had it on our back. And then we also had the sword on our back. And now the only thing on our back is Midna, and the sword and shield are just gone. Off in an ethereal plane of existence, where all items go. Just an invisible pocket that we sometimes grab things from. Hyrule Castle here, you can't really it doesn't have the same effect whenever I'm a wolf, because obviously I'm not going to be talking to anyone, but I can still listen in on some conversations. One thing that threw me off about this game the first time I played it and kind of disappointed me was that the vast majority of the people in Hyrule Castle Town here, you can't talk to. They're just there to make the town seem hustly-bustly. Can I go in here? I guess not. Just... yeah, I want to pick up this bone. I am a dog. I like bones. Fetch me. Yeah, you can't talk to most people. You can only talk to a few. Mostly the ones that stand still. And I feel like if you're going to put a person in your game, you should be able to talk to them. Doesn't matter how busy they are. You can talk to the cats. The cats listen. Or they don't listen, they don't hear you. You know what I mean. Also, I love this. You're not supposed to go out the south side of Castletown, and so there's just a line here for people buying spring water. You can't get past this line. Clearly, it is impossible to get past. There is no way you could ever squeeze through a few people. Whatever. I find it amusing, at least. That's the roadblock that the game has. Hey, Hylia. And promiscuous woman. And Zora. The soldiers in the back. So now let us talk to the soldiers in the back. This strange woman here is Telma, who has a cat named Louise. It's Telma and Louise. It's terrible. I was trying to look for Louise, but I don't think that she's here anywhere. This map is surprisingly useful. If you come back to this point of the... in Castletown and return to this map, it'll always tell you exactly where you need to go next. Which I'm not sure exactly how you're supposed to figure that out. Maybe the game hints towards that at some point. I don't remember how I figured it out, but... here is a shadow bug. It's just kind of here. And you can kill it, and it gives you a tear of light, but since you don't have a vessel of light, you can't pick it up. That's another thing I kind of like. It's definitely there. It doesn't just appear once you get the vessel of light. It's there. So, I don't know. Makes the world feel more complete, I guess, when things just don't... they don't just completely disappear from existence and come back every so often. For the most part, if there are things in this game that disappear from whatever is considered important to the story, they're still somewhere else in Hyrule. Where am I supposed to go now? I just know there's some Gorons that start in Death Mountain and then go to Kakariko, but they're never just completely off the face of the earth, like some characters in games are once they're no longer important. Oh wait, this is just like a Colosseum thing. Don't know what it is. I shouldn't have to look at the map, given how many times I've played this game, but sometimes it's just necessary. These guys have kind of interesting designs. What do they remind me of? They... No, don't you dare. Well, I can't get a good look at them. They remind me of something. I can't remember what, though. It's gonna bother me. Their mask looks like something's... No, okay, I remember. another reference to Zelda Ocarina of Time. The mysterious figure that you sell Pose to, it looks like that, because they have one red eye. It's the Golden Gate Bridge. It's not made of gold like we expected, but it's still pretty neat. And we are going to bottle it up and use it elsewhere. Just stick it in a bottle, and then use it to cross over to Akana Canyon. It seems to be covered in something. Well, I would smell what it is, but I forgot all smells except for Hylia. If only I hadn't done that, and if only the other smell that I'd learned wasn't the youth scent, then maybe I would have figured out that this is oil, or perhaps lighter fluid or something, most likely oil. Yeah, this doesn't look good. I think if you touch the fire once, then it's an instant death. So you're just supposed to figure out to do this. Leap from a bridge! Geronimo! Now, if your wolf friend jumped off a bridge, would you? If the bridge was on fire, then yes. Plop. That was a close one. We're lucky that there was a puddle down here. I like how she underplays the size of Lake Hylia. It is a little bit more of a puddle now because it's supposed to be a lot bigger than this. But just she refers to this as a puddle. That's like something my dad would say. And here is one of the most bizarre characters in terms of appearance. He has a bullet bill on his arm. This is Fyer and Falbi's Watertop Land of Fantastication. I think he's Fyer. I don't remember which one he is. But he's just talking to himself. And it's a good thing, too, because otherwise we wouldn't get much out of him. What's that? His first thought when looking at a monster is that a customer? I wanted to get a good look at his face, because it is a ridiculous-looking face. Oh well. We saw the bullet bill, that's all that matters. He can play leaves, too, even though he has no visible mouth. He just lifts it up and vibrates it. He's not summoning a hawk, though. He's summoning Ridley with a flower for a face. Yeah. So, battle time. Oh, and he's shooting arrows at me. This is kind of a battle that I have inconsistent times with. Sometimes it goes by smoothly, sometimes it goes by very poorly. And I guess it's a little bit like the fights with Mayor Bo in his house. Which, come to think of it, it's really weird that he just has a sumo wrestling match in his house. Like a ring. Whatever you would call the arena for that. Come back down here. I'm not through with you yet. You haven't had your munchies. Come on. That's better. Didn't you like the munchies? I knew what he meant, but just to be funny, I took a big bite right out of his jugular vein. And I think that does it. Explode into dust? No? Oh, I still have to kill you? Fine. Seems unnecessary, given the circumstances. Just that one little thing to make the battle longer. Alright, Hubert. You're gonna do our bidding now. Link wrangles horses, Midna wrangles shadow dragons. I think if I was gonna have to pick between one of those two things, I would totally pick Midna. Shadowing wrangler dragons. And another sequence that I admire. Basically, we just fly through here while things collapse around us. Not as intense as a level of Donkey Kong Country Returns, but still nice. I guess I just like this for this sort of scaffolding setup that they have going on here. We go through this same location a few other times for entirely different reasons. We don't always just fly through it. Sometimes we are going downriver with it. And it feels different every time. Something I like about games like this is whenever they reuse the same area or the same idea in various different ways, and it doesn't feel the same any two times. Alright. Also, I like how there are these black squares that fly out of our wings as we burst forward like this. It's a detail that I hadn't noticed before. No matter how many times I play this game, I always notice new things. It's just so incredibly detailed. I don't know if it's intended that this hole here looks like a keyhole, but that's exactly what it is. We just need that ice key that I keep talking about with Stop and Swap, then we could open something. Hello? Did she just call it a bird? I guess it's kind of a bird. And yeah, it's apparently colder up here. You can't feel it, but it is. We're getting close to the top of the mountain, which is very wintry and such. This is another lady that's related to Nest Head. And there is exactly one character in the family who isn't someone with an afro. She's the most sane of the three. Yeah. The water is just kind of frozen up here. The part that's coming up is not difficult, but I had a really, really hard time with it the first several times that I played this game. See this big frozen waterfall here? Yeah, we're gonna jump up that. But every time that I've jumped up it, except for the times that I've done it recently, I've just kept getting hit with icicles, and I feel like... well, no, I no longer feel this way, but it felt like to me that you're just supposed to get the icicles out of the way by having them hurt you, and then proceed up the mountain as usual. But no, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're actually supposed to be cautious here. It's just weird because other times in the game, whenever you do this stuff, you have to make sure that you're going fast so that nothing hits you. And in this case, you're moving slow so that nothing hits you. And that's all there is to it. Great, more of these guys. And there's a nice little barricade between them. This would be a nice place for volleyball. If only one of you had a ball. Maybe tennis? We could play tennis. I mean, Ganondorf likes to do that all the time. And Phantom Ganon. Missing no, thanks for that contact. No time to breathe the fresh air of the light world, because we have things. This is a really creepy image. Just seeing all of those Zoras frozen under the ice. Which is a little bit weird, because I would think that under the ice there's still water, because that's how it usually is with... Even in, like, glaciers in the North and South Pole and Antarctica and whatnot, I'm pretty sure that most of the time under the ice there is water, but in this case, I guess all of it is frozen. Not just the surface. Can't we just leave them there for thousands of years? So that in the distant future, when Zoras have turned into birds, there can still be Zoras? Because evolution is confusing in this universe? Yeah, this is another place that I got stuck. Even though it should be painfully obvious that the big burning thing is going to melt the ice, I didn't think about that. I just kind of saw this giant rock as a background detail to make the scene at the time more interesting, and not something that would come into play later, so I didn't give it any more thought. But we're gonna take our flaming turd and make some use out of it. It's gonna be quite spectacular, honestly. It's... big splash. And then the waterfall just spills out like lava. I know it's not lava, but that first bit there, where it just seems to flame outwards in a big fiery explosion because everything is glowing and yellow, looks like lava to me. It's just because it's in Twilight. I'd say our work here is done. Now everyone can go swimming. Things are going swimmingly. Yeah, let's head to the spirit of Lake Hylia. Except... remember that dying Zora from earlier? This is, / was, his mom. In life I was the elder of this Zora village, Rutella, the queen. We didn't exactly do it for you guys. I don't care about you, sorry. So, in one line of dialogue here, it might not be here, but let me just pay attention here. I no longer have a life to risk in his rescue. I don't know, I think somewhere in here she says that she sacrificed herself to save her son. And that's only mentioned one time in any of the dialogue, and it's nowhere else in the game. You don't find out about it from anyone else afterwards. They just say, oh, she died. But they don't say, oh, she sacrificed herself because she loved her son. That seems like something that you would mention. All of the water effects at once. It's raining, there are waterfalls, it's a lake, it's a river, it's everything. So yeah, let's just sail down. Woo! Sound a little bit distressed there. You should be having more fun on a water slide, stupid. Hey! Fyer and Falbi's shop is restored. Keeping business afloat. Ugh, are you awake yet? You were unconscious for 3 years. No, actually, I should say 7 years. And then he's just a wolf with an ear pierced. And entirely different clothes on. Hey, another set of glowing lights. We've gotten the last of the stale blueberries. Or at least, the vine in which you keep the stale blueberries. And I think that's where I'm gonna pause my recording. Because I've been recording for 5 hours. And, getting a little bit tired. But this has been enjoyable, so thank you all very, very, very much for watching, and I will see you all later.